Hey, so for this update on my LinkedIn entries, what I'm going to be talking about is something I developed a little while ago, which is a program that allows you to swap between two active HUDs with changing interfaces on them, meaning that it's not just a static image that I can change from one to the other, that the numbers will actually update and show properly based on what's happening. So the first thing I'm going to like to start off with is basically our scene one, which is going to be our main like home screen. And what I'm doing is I'm just creating um, basic pointers for everything: our window, our render, our rect 1 and 2, which is going to be like our health bar, and then the health bar encasing it as well. Um, for our font, our message reaction, or our message rank rectangle, sorry, and then our surface. And then going on from that into the actual scene1.cpp, what you can see is first on our creation, what we're going to do is we're going to create our window and our renderer, and then a sense of elapsed time. And then as we actually create it, we're going to set our rect one as a new SDL rect. We're going to give it a width, a height, an X position, and then a Y position. And then we're going to do a similar thing with our rect 2. And then scrolling on further, we're actually going to create our font, which is in sans. We're going to give it the black font color as well. And then a surface message is actually going to pop up and display telling you that you can interact with these two things and print it in black. And then what's going to happen here is it's going to create the surface, render the surface image as well. And then we're also going to have our message rectangle just to kind of encapsulate it, make it look a little bit nicer. So essentially what's going to happen here is we're just going to give it our X, our Y, our width, and our height again. Next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to have an interactive display talking about the health of the character. So it's going to have a static image health because that word's never going to change. And then the surface message is actually going to be based off of the percent of the health that is left, and that's going to change as we run the program. And you will be able to see that shortly. And then, of course, on our destroy, we're just going to delete all of these pointers we created to free up any memory leaks. And then in our update, we're going to use our elapsed time is going to take each delta time and plus equal like increment it so that it can keep track of how much time has been going through. We're actually gonna. This is where all of the update and the calculations for what's happening with the health bar and what it's going to display is going to be played out. And then finally, in our render, it's going to render everything in various different colors essentially. So right here, obviously, we're setting everything to a pure white background with a white alpha, and then we're going to be setting rect 1 to purple, equal 2/3, color it green. So essentially what's happening is as the health bar goes down, it's actually going to change colors. And then finally, we're going to have our orange and our red. Our draw messages, of course, that's just going to bring the messages up onto the screen. And then finally, in our handle events, this is just what's looking for um, our left and our right key is actually going to swap. And then if we hit our space bar, that's going to be handled in our game manager. If we hit our space bar, it's going to swap between scenes. So then what we can do is we can hop into scene 2. And we're going to see that we're creating our window and our elapsed time again, getting the window, and then essentially what we're doing this time is we're taking the font, we're creating a rectangle that's actually just going to be a large square in the center, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to have it display the seconds left. So it's going to start from 61, so that way it displays 60 right away, and it's going to count all the way down to 0. Now, nothing exactly happens at the end once it hits 0. It's more so just to kind of display that I can create non-static displays using SDL output and bring them all together so that this can actually be the core of like a proper HUD design that can swap when I need it to. In this case, it swaps on command via a button, but in the game, then I can easily have a condition, once a character is in combat, then it can swap seamlessly in between the two. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to run this guy up, and I can show you just exactly how it's going to output. So of course, first it's going to bring up this proper this large health bar. Of course, it's got the purple overlay in the background. You can see as I'm hitting left, the top left corner will actually drain the number down. It's not just a static reading there. And of course, the health bar changes colors too as it goes down until it hits 0, and then it won't grow off into infinity. It'll stop at 0, and of course, it can go all the way back up as well. And it will hit a same similar case statement where once it actually hits 100, it will no longer be able to go farther than that. So just to prove that here, we hit 100, and this button is not working anymore, meaning that it's as high as it can go. We can go back down and up, but no farther than 100. Then on space, what's going to happen is it's actually going to swap to this other background where it's just got a simple counter that's going to count down and just prove that one, it can handle switching between scene 1 and 2 both ways, which of course resets the timer every time, but 2, it can actually have a non-static image being shown on the screen as well. So thank you guys so much for paying attention to this next update, and I'll be back with further.